Welcome back to another edition of Fun Fridays. Today we are going to be learning all about pigs. All of the webinars have been based on our dig-in lesson plans that are available to download from our website, agriaware.ie. So if you and your teacher have been enjoying all of these webinars, you can access the lesson plans and worksheets to help you learn all about livestock and the other topics that we've covered so far. So this is the first of our Christmas episodes of Fun Fridays. And I have chosen pigs for our first one because there are lots of foods that we eat at Christmas that come from pigs, and we are going to learn a little bit more about them today.
So let's have a look at our participants. Lots of people joining, and I have a few people I want to say hello to. I would love to say hello to all of the pupils in Meelick National School in County Clare. Hello, everybody there. I would also like to say hello to Keela and Faith in 6th class National School. Hello. Lots of people saying hello. Thanks so much. I would also like to say a special hello to Rongahane in Skull, Ballinora in County Cork. Oh, and I recognise this school. I know this school have been here every week, various classes. So I would love to say hello to 4th class in Castleknock National School. Hello, everyone. I know there's a few of your classes participating. So you're very welcome back to another Fun Fridays. So our introduction to pigs. Introduction to pigs, so it's going to be on domestication. We're going to have a look at Christmas foods. We'll have our video by Ardrahan National School. Our interactive activity this week is going to be an animal diets quiz. So there was a worksheet sent out to your teacher. If you have that, you can participate live, or you can just keep a note and use a piece of paper and you can fill it in later. And then we will have quiz challenger number 9. So of course, these are very important answers to make a note of, because all of the answers from all of the webinars you can submit, well, your teacher can submit all of their answers to be with a chance to win a trip to Dublin Zoo. So quiz challenger number 9, and then the final one will be next Friday, and that will be quiz challenger number 10, and then you'll be able to enter the competition. So I want to get started just by introducing you to an animal that we would call a wild boar. So these are the animals that the pig that we now have on farms, the ones that we now keep for domestication, they originated from wild boars. And this is just a little example I have of wild boars. So this was somebody who had put a camera out at nighttime and hidden it, and they were able to film these wild boars. So you can see just how similar they are to our pigs that we see on farms today. So they have those special noses, which are called snouts. They also have ears, like our pigs do on our farms. They have trotters, which are their 4 feet. But you'll notice one big difference, and this will change with, of course, the different kind of pigs that are out there. But let me just get my laser pointer. Do you see how furry this pig is? So when they're out in the wild, it's obviously not as easy for them to keep warm. So they grow these big coats of fur. Whereas the pigs that you might see on farms nowadays, they have very little hair. So this hair here, it can help to keep them warm, but it can also help the pigs to protect themselves in the sun or in the rain. And it just helps to protect their skin. And I'm going to ask a question now. How do our pigs that we have in Ireland, how do they protect their skin from the sun? Anybody, any ideas what they might use as their sun cream if they were going to be outside? Perfect. So the answer is mud. So the mud actually will help them to cool down, and it will also protect their skin from sunburn. So if you see pigs that have pink skin, that can be very sensitive. So it's really important that we protect them from the sun. And they can do that themselves by rolling in mud. Excellent. Well done, everyone. Anybody able to tell me what pigs eat? Any answers at all? So even if they're on a farm or if they were out in the wild.
Oh, excellent. I have some people saying anything. Yeah, that's correct. That's actually coming in from Ardrahan National School. Anything is a good way to describe what pigs eat because they can eat such a wide range of foodstuffs that, yes, I mean, in theory, they can eat anything, but we'll go into that in a bit more detail later on.
Brilliant. Somebody said apples. Excellent. So they will actually eat some fruits and some vegetables with things like apples and carrots, the same as we learned with horses. They can be considered treats for those animals because they're quite sweet. So we wouldn't give them a lot of apples, but they definitely like apples. Cabbages, excellent. That's a great example of a vegetable that's suitable for pigs. So they like to munch on grains, and someone had said pig nuts as well. So farmers can buy special food that is suitable for pigs to feed them in. This is a little piglet feeder here. It keeps it nice and clean and keeps the food in a nice small container so it's not going everywhere. So they can eat all of these lovely grains, and that can help them to grow healthy and strong. So that is one thing. But if we go back even further to when they're little babies, if we think way back to our first webinar when we learned all about dairy, we had learned that all animals that produce milk are called mammals. So pigs are mammals. They drink milk when they're very young. When pigs get older, you wouldn't really feed them cow's milk or anything like that, but they do drink milk from their mothers. And then finally, I just have this little example of a pig rooting. So if you ever see a hole that has been dug by a pig, it's not actually them digging with their feet, with their trotters, it's them digging with their noses. So you can see the pig is rooting around in the ground there, and they're looking for something tasty that they can eat. So if you had pigs that were spending a lot of time outdoors, they would do a lot of rooting in the ground. So they can look for worms, they can look for slugs, maybe a tasty beetle. So they have a very wide variety of food options to choose from. So this means that their diet can be classed as an omnivore. So an omnivore is a word for an animal that is able to consume both plant items and also meat items as well. So the meat for a pig, you wouldn't feed them a steak, but they do eat things like worms and slugs, which are classified as meat because they don't come from a plant source. So this means that our pigs are called omnivores. And this is an important thing to note for now because we're going to use this word and we're going to learn about herbivores and carnivores when we do our live activity. Excellent. So have a think. Maybe there's a tradition that you follow in your household. Maybe there is a particular type of food that I've never heard of. What kind of ones? Answers are flying in. Very good. The first one that I see that's very popular is ham. Excellent. Christmas ham, a very popular choice for people at Christmas time. Someone has said bacon. Yes, excellent. So I have my Christmas ham here. So it can be made with cloves, which are the little black things can stick in the top. They're a spice that make it a really rich flavor. So there's our Christmas ham, which we serve with turkey, or maybe you just have ham at your Christmas table, or maybe you just have turkey. And these are the ones that I was talking about, the pigs in a blanket. So they are sausages, which we know come from pigs, and they are wrapped in rashers, which also come from pigs. So rasher is just another word for bacon. And pigs in a blanket is a very popular thing to serve at a Christmas party because it's a little morsel of tasty pork, and then you're able to stick a cocktail stick in it, and it's very easy to eat. And then I also just put this picture here of a fry. So maybe somebody has a Christmas fry on Christmas morning. I'm sure that's quite popular as well. Oh, brilliant. Somebody puts streaky bacon on their turkey. Very nice. Oh, somebody said crackling. Brilliant. Yes, the crackling is the fat on top of the ham. So this is not a very good example of it, but if it's very well done, the fat on the top of the ham can become quite tough and crispy, and that is called the crackling. Brilliant. Excellent answers from everyone there. Well done. Now we are going to watch our educational video. So this time this educational video was not made by me. It was made by the pupils of Ardrahan National School. So they've given us some pig facts, and then Tommy from Ardrahan National School has given us a little bit of a tour around his farm at home. So we're going to have a little watch of this now. Here we go.
Usually, like this size when they're born, they're usually pale pink colour. You get rashers, sausages, ham and bacon and pork from pigs.
Last time she had a litter, she had 21 babies, and maybe she might have 21 again, or maybe 20 this time too. She's fairly big, and she'll be ready to have her one-offs in about 2 weeks. These are our piglets that were born this morning. Big Mama was sick at around 9 o'clock yesterday, and she had her first spawn-off at around 1 o'clock, and she finished this morning at 8:30 maybe. And I got up at 4:45 in the morning, and I had mum and dad. At that time there was 3 born, and they were hardy, and it was a really big surprise to come in and see 3 born-ups. And over here are our 11 runs. Well, there's 9 in there now, because these 2 that I'm feeding here are runs, and they're the ones that were weak, and the strong ones were fighting, and the ones over here are the strong ones, and these ones are the hardy ones. She had 23 bonobs, and one of them, the last one, died coming out, I think. But that's kind of normal for a sow if she has that many, and they're really nice and cute. And we put up this ladder, and we hung 2 red lamps off it so the piglets can stay warm.
Now, I'm sure that you will all agree that that was a really lovely video. So thanks so much again to the pupils in Ardrahan National School, and thanks Tommy for showing us around. So we learned lots of really important things. So we had touched on some of the products that we get from pigs, and Tommy and his friends had reinforced that. So we get ham, we get sausages, we get rashers, which is all absolutely correct. Brilliant, brilliant knowledge from everybody. And then he was able to show us the pig having had, I think, how many bonhams was it this time? Maybe you can remind me there if Tommy's out there. He can message in how many bonhams did the pig have. So the bonhams is another word for a piglet, and that pig had a lot. So he was able to help some of the piglets suckle from the mother pig, because usually you would say that some of the piglets are strong ones and the others are then the runts of the litter. So they are just the ones that are a little bit maybe on the smaller side, and they're not as strong and they're not as well able to fight in to get to the mother's teat so they can feed on the milk. Oh, brilliant. 23, very good. So she had 23 bonhams, or 23 piglets. That is a lot of babies to look after. So it was really helpful that Tommy was able to be there to assist. And the other thing that he mentioned, which is really important, is they had put up heat lamps. So baby animals really need to be warm, and so do human babies. So it's really important that they put up those nice infrared heat lamps that just keep them nice and toasty, because of course the pigs, while they're in a shelter, they're not exactly inside by the fire like we might be if we were cold. So that heat lamp just helps to keep them super warm. Now, here we go. This is the sheet that I'm talking about. So you might have this in front of you. If you don't worry about it. You could even try and recreate it yourselves now on a piece of paper if you feel confident enough to do so. So we have already talked about our pigs. So this is a pig, and we actually classify pigs as omnivores. And this is because they eat both plant parts and they also eat both animal parts as well. So they can be classed as an omnivore. And we have this middle section here, which is the crossover of the herbivore and the carnivore. So anything that is in here, it means it can eat both. And then when we look at the other side, we have this special word herbivore, and I am sure you all know what this means, but does anybody want to offer an answer to what a herbivore is? A plant eater. Excellent. That is exactly what I wanted to hear. So a herbivore is a plant eater. And then I'm sure we all know at this point. So then if we have plant eaters and then we have omnivores, which eat both plants and animals, and then carnivores, they will only eat animals. So they eat meat primarily. So we are going to go through a few examples, and you can either write the word if you know how to spell it, or you can draw a little picture to symbolize which animal is which. So let's have a look at the first one I want to test you on. So this one here, this is a fox. So if we have a look at their eyes are looking to the front. And an animal that has eyes that look to the front, it means they're very good hunters. So let's see if you guys can push your fox into the right bracket. So is it a herbivore? Is it an omnivore? Or is it a carnivore? So either you can answer in the Q&A, that's no problem, or you can just keep a note of it on your own piece of paper if you have the worksheet in front of you. Super. So a fox is, let's find out, a carnivore. So maybe on occasion, if a fox was really, really hungry, they might eat some fruits that they find on a bush nearby, or they might eat some nuts. But their body works best when they eat meat. So they might eat rabbits, they might eat birds, they could eat small mammals such as mice and rats. So they are carnivores. Brilliant. Some people answering there. That's very good. So if you're working along and you have that worksheet at home, you can just write the word fox or draw a little fox symbol, and we'll go to the next one. Now, this animal is a gray squirrel. So we need to decide if the gray squirrel is a herbivore, an omnivore, or a carnivore. So if you know already, go ahead and you can put your answer down on your sheet in front of you, but I will give you a hint. So squirrels absolutely love to eat nuts. So they might eat chestnuts or they might eat hazelnuts, and they store all of these lovely nuts that will keep them full of energy during the winter time. So if we're going to classify them, we need to think about what they eat. So if they eat nuts and nuts come from plants, this means that they are a herbivore. Excellent. So another thing to notice about herbivores, you see their eyes. So their eyes are very much at the side of their head. So the rhyme you can use for this is eyes to the side, the animal hides. And if they hide, it usually means they're hiding from a predator. So you know that they're the ones that are going to be hunted and they're not the ones doing the hunting. And then we have eyes to the front, the animal hunts. So then we have our pigs. So their eyes are a little bit in between. They're not exactly at the front, but they're not at the very side of their head. So they're a bit of an in-between animal. Now let's go to our next one. So I wonder, do you know what this animal is? So this is a black rat. So this is an example of an animal that we don't have in Ireland, but it was a nice picture that I was able to use for you guys, but let's just call it a rat. So what do you think? Do you think rats eat only plants? Do you think they eat only meat? Or do you think that they fall somewhere in between? So you can use your sheets again and you can classify that animal. And let's find out. Oh, somebody has popped in an answer and I can say it's the correct one. So St. Joseph's National School in Leitrim Village has said that this animal is an omnivore. So let's see if they are correct. Yes, they are. So rats, they will kind of forage and look for anything that they can find. So if they can find fresh fruit and different things like that, maybe in a hedgerow on a farm, they'll definitely eat that. but they'll also eat probably some small insects, or they'll eat kind of anything that they can find in a city. So they have a very wide diet, so they can eat pretty much anything that they want. Not everything is good for them, but they will eat everything. This is my favorite animal, and it's a nice Irish animal, and I'm sure it'll be familiar to a lot of you. So this one here, anybody want to tell me what this animal is? Your teacher can pop it into the Q&A and I'll be able to see. What is this animal's name? Brilliant. 4th and 5th class in Kilmoyley, it is a hedgehog. Excellent, very good. This is a hedgehog. And I'll tell you a little bit more about what hedgehogs eat, just to help anybody who's not quite sure. So hedgehogs, they absolutely love to eat slugs. Slugs are one of their favorites, but they also really like to eat berries such as blackberries. So if they eat slugs, which are an animal, and they eat berries, which is a plant, this means that they are an omnivore. So lots of people have gotten that right. Well done, everybody. So they are an omnivore. I know it would be probably, you would think that it's a herbivore because they're quite small, but they are actually an omnivore. They're quite good at hunting for insects and different things that live in leaf litter underneath hedgerows. They really enjoy kind of hunting. They're not that fast, but of course, if you think of a slug or a snail, they're also not that fast. Super. So that is all of the animals that we're going to classify live today, but maybe your teacher can quiz you a little bit more and you can learn a bit more about herbivores, omnivores, and carnivores. Just while we're here, I'm going to give another example of a herbivore that we will all know. So cattle, of course, they're herbivores because we know that they eat mostly grass, and they'll also eat small amounts of grain that farmers will give them. Now, the last thing that we have to do before we finish up is quiz challenger number 9. So if you are all ready, I will stop sharing my screen. There we go. And I'm going to read for you quiz challenger number 9. So I'll read it once and then I will repeat it. What word is used to describe a pig's diet? Herbivore, omnivore, or carnivore? And again, what word is used to describe a pig's diet? Herbivore, omnivore, or carnivore? So that was quiz challenger number 9. So just keep a note that it was number 9 and keep a note of your answer. And then when I send the format to your teacher on the 10th of December, which is next Friday, you can fill in all of your answers and be in with a chance, excuse me, to win a class trip to Dublin Zoo. So thanks again to everybody for participating. And I really appreciate all the effort that you put into answering all of those lovely questions. And a special thank you again to Ardrahan National School, the pupils. I think it was first class. I hope I was correct there. So thank you so much. And a special thanks to Tommy as well for showing us around. So next week, I'll be back with another Christmas edition. We're going to be learning a little bit more about poultry. So poultry and turkeys and all of the different animals that we might get energy from at Christmas time. So thank you for participating and I'll see you next week. Bye.